All right, hi, this is the Claro admin theme meeting for April 29, 2020.
So I invited Cole today here. He's my colleague at Acquia, and he's been working on an exciting Acquia project where they are leveraging the Drupal style guide. And the reason I wanted to invite him here was to give him an opportunity to showcase what have we implemented using the Drupal design system, and if there's some new components that we would like to bring back to the open source design system that we have built.
Great.
Yeah. So Cole, do you want to give us a small presentation on what you've been working on?
Yeah, sure. This is what I'm working on in the past 2 quarters, and just recently I changed the whole design to the Claro because I didn't know about Claro before. I was doing like a traditional Drupal. So let me present. So what I started using Claro, and I really like the contrast and a lot of good color and stuff. So for this specific tool, it's migration tool. So I introduced some new patterns, new designs and patterns. For example, like the numbers next to the tabs and the red dots. And this is what we use as we call it a swishy to show percentage, and the water will wavy if you start to import stuff. So we do that, and this will be a queue card. Once they import the queue and start to import, there will be the queue, and they're able to close or clear. It will be auto cleared, and so during the interview and testing, we had a lot of users complain about they have to scroll down so much and then come all the way back up to do any actions and lost the consent of what's happening up there. So we can decided on using inside, like the vendor is status, the whole header is status, and then the content will scroll. And this is also a new pattern that I designed for dependency check. So it will show all the dependencies. And we also have another one that has a drop down and show a card like this to show dependencies. And yeah, this is another tab of this. And it's pretty consistent. And this also, there are 2 cards and one is inside a scroll. And for this one, it's specifically, I took off the vertical menu option for Acquia Migrate tool. And this is another one. And so this drop down is a new pattern I introduced to able to tell users what type of errors, how many errors on each, so they can multi-select and filter it, instead of having a huge drop down and showing a lot of zeros when they are not relevant.
This the select that you had there, that was one of the interesting ones to me. That seemed like it could be something that we could take use of in the design system itself. What do you think, Christina?
So right now I don't really know what's implemented for selects right now. I'm not sure what Claro has as a select. It has the default select, right? Or it has the drop down already.
So we do have implemented the designs for the select that we have, but I guess this would be a separate one, which would be using the same design, because this is not an actual select. It's, I guess, kind of a different kind of component, because it's checkboxes that are just hidden inside the select, so it's not a proper select element. Or I don't know if this is designed for the multiple select, element. That could be interesting too.
Multiple select.
Because
Element?
there's like a multiple select element in HTML. If we would wrap
Oh.
it in like an element like this. Because
I'm just trying to remember which one is this. But I mean, I agree. This is great. This is a great implementation. Just I was just trying to remember what do we have and where it could be implemented. But I agree. This is great. But yeah, I think I was just checking what we have right now for drop downs, and that's on the design side, and that's exactly this. I mean, not with the checkboxes, but that's a great integration of that.
so we have the recent log messages page. Can I share for a second?
Yes,
Cole?
absolutely.
So we have this one, for example, which is using the multiple select.
Oops.
Which,
Okay.
so,
I see it's not implemented.
yeah, so this one doesn't have anything right now. So we could, if we want it, we could replace it with something like that.
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, so here is the module page. So it's once you click on this row, and it will expand, show more detail, and become blue, and have the uninstall button.
And this one is interesting as well because we actually haven't implemented the modules page yet.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if this is something where we could kind of at least kind of take some ideas from.
Yeah, I guess anything could be an improvement to the current state of the modules page. And
yeah,
this right now looks super clean. I'm not really sure what things are here that are not there right now,
but yeah, this looks like this looks pretty clean. If you could make it like this, it would be a huge improvement to what we have now. And I like the change of color on the, when the element is open.
yeah, that's a really interesting thing. Maybe it's my screen, but does it have like internal shadow, or it's just my screen?
Oh, it still has this has the shadow on it. So it's just for people to scroll down, like not losing the top menus.
I see, okay.
Yeah. And this is the final page is really standard form. So.
But this looks really good for me, this page, and it looks like the design system that we have created. Yeah, that one.
The one? This one?
Yeah. Looks great.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, that's what I have here.
So for those views that we found interesting, how do you want to, like, do you think you would have some time to kind of maybe copy and paste them over at least to our Figma? Or like, how do you want to, because I think we should definitely continue the discussion, like if we could leverage those designs. I think that would be like a logical next step.
Yes, absolutely. I can refine some elements, some details on the elements for it, and then I can copy over and then make a separate session, and you guys can finalize everything goes in or not.
Okay, I'll talk to you on Slack later and give you some information on where you could copy and paste those over.
Cool, sounds great.
Okay, thank you so much, Cole. That was great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Should we continue with other topics then?
Yeah, I think probably the designs for the select could be almost just directly pasted on the drop-down element, like another implementation of it, and I don't know. I see it fairly well integrated, really well integrated. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think it looks like
Cool.
pretty close to something that we could use. We just need to, document it a bit in our design
Exactly.
system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you need any help or you have any question, just feel free to reach me. Cool. So yeah, I will be happy to help however I can.
So something that I wanted to bring up today was we've been working on the Views UI, and I kind of wanted to give like an initial, like what we've been able to do in like a day or 2 days so far.
Yeah.
Get your initial thoughts on that. So this is basically what I have so far. And so what we've done here, I'm gonna maybe zoom a little bit so it is easier for you to see. So what we've done so far is we've changed the colors. This one is still with the old color, but you can see the top area has now correct colors for both the top region and then the button pane here. And I've also adjusted the borders. And what I was thinking of still doing is adding the same shadow as we have on the details element for this one. And so we've changed the colors here. We've made the links underline again. And we've adjusted some of the sizes so that you can see that these can fit the same area where the title is.
Is this the small or the extra small?
Let's see. I'm pretty sure this is small, but it could be. It's extra small, it seems like.
Great.
And Views UI used to use uppercase for the titles, and since we are not using that elsewhere, I've removed that too. I increased the size a little bit because if it was with the old font size, it looked like there was too much empty space on the titles, so I adjusted that as well. And so something that we need to adjust still is, so these buttons don't look great at the moment. They look a bit, it's kind of work in progress at the moment. And something that we have to figure out is that, so if you visit this page on a touch-enabled device, the buttons are rendered as big, and we have this feature all around the UI, and I don't think there's a way to make this work in Views UI. And so what I discussed with Ben earlier was that since they're like, so we basically worked on Drupal 9 related issue because we updated Modernizer, where we had to provide that functionality in Drupal core because Modernizer had removed it. And the reason they had removed it was because of distinguishing devices that have touch events enabled and devices that actually use touch events. It's not possible. They can only see if the touch events are enabled or not. And it doesn't mean that they would be actually use touch events, because you can use like a Lenovo Yoga computer, which is a touch screen, and it's touch enabled, but people aren't most of the time probably navigating them with a mouse. Or you could have a Surface which has a touch screen too, and they're touch enabled, and therefore they would get these big buttons. So we were wondering if we could just get rid of that functionality, because we can't distinguish whether users are using touch or not in a reliable way. Also because they could be using both touch and not touch. So any thoughts on that?
I think
I recently saw something fairly new on CSS. I'm going to find the link now, that might help us with figuring out about touch devices and other kind of devices without without a whole library.
I think,
sounds good.
the only thing that I've been able to use so far is the pointer. where the pointer is touch. So yeah, I really don't know how to deal with that. And yeah, I think the only thing we could assume here, or think that would make sense, is that in smaller screens, it's more probable that we have a touch screen, so make it bigger on smaller screens. But that's the only thing that I can think of. I really don't know what's the best thing to do here. But
so maybe we could change the rule so that it's, if your screen size is under 768 pixels and Modernizer tells us your touch enabled, then we show you the big buttons.
yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if that's correct, because as you were saying, if you're on a big screen and you are using touch, maybe that can become, I don't know. Yeah, this pointer is the only one that I know so far.
Yeah, I guess the problem with this is too that you don't really know if they're using pointer or
Exactly.
not based on that, because of your device could have multiple ways to navigate.
Yeah. I would say it's safe to assume that you have the option to use touch. At least you should have a UI that works for that, I would say. So even you're on a mouse, you might have the option, so you will face the same problem that anybody is facing on a touch screen, smaller touch screen. So I think it makes sense to have bigger buttons, even if it's a bigger screen and you're using a mouse, because you still have the option, and it couldn't be usable if it's too small.
So if we have the big, like if you want to show the big buttons, are we going to adjust everything on this page so that it takes the space that it needs?
Probably. I don't know. I really don't know. Probably I will, on a design or on a ticket perspective, I will do that on a separate one. Like, let's just build right now with something that can be scalable, and then on a touch screen replace these values with the bigger ones or something like that. I don't know.
So can we then remove these big buttons at least from Vue's UI for now?
I would say, so that right now is on a touch screen, right?
Yeah, now I'm on a touch screen.
And then we could open another ticket to deal with that.
So are we fine if it looks like this on touch screen for now?
It seems broken. It looks broken.
Yeah.
I really don't know what's the best thing to do.
I think I'm wondering if
would it make any sense to add a manual switch to ask turn on touchscreen feature?
You're entering you're entering a dangerous path.
Okay.
No, that's I totally agree that that's actually something that came to my mind, but we already have a ticket where we want to discuss what things we're going to get to leave to give to the user to make custom to customize to the user, like font sizes and these kind of things. And then we have to agree if these things are for the user, for the site builder, for the theme. So it escalates quickly to a bigger discussion about which things goes for each one. But yeah, probably that would be something that will make sense, like on a tool, like a toolbar or something, where you can actually, like on an iPhone, where you can actually display like where you enable or disable Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or something like that. You have to make fonts bigger or smaller, or buttons bigger or smaller, so you can customize your UI. So it will make sense. Anyway, for now.
Hey, folks, sorry, I was jumping in later, but does it look broken, I wonder, because of the size or because of the position? What if because it looks broken because it's, I don't know if it's floated, but it's floating to the right of the same line as the label, right? As the header that it's next to. Would it make sense to, would it make it not look broken if it's just below and to the left of each fields, and then have buttons below it, add header, break, and then have the add buttons just on the left hand side? I mean, that may not be a solution code wise or implementation wise, but
yeah, as long as it doesn't look broken. Just for example, what Laura is showing right now, I would say that's perfect, at least for now.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's already a lot, a big improvement. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, probably, yeah. But yeah, I would say something like that makes a lot of sense.
Okay, then we're probably gonna make it like that. It's gonna take a lot of space, but obviously there's now things that are broken. Like we don't have to adjust the size of all of these things, but basically you can get a sense of how these will look like. Okay, well, I'll implement it that way, and then we can bike shed it on the issue later on.
Another thought about the buttons on the top, right, on the top left, the page and add. Those are links to, or those are buttons right now.
They
so
are.
Not the drop down. Yeah, the ones. Yes.
It's a link.
And that is, yeah, because you're going to another page. Maybe that could be converted to action links.
Yeah, that could be. Oops, I went to PHP. Let me see. That seems like something we could probably do.
Not really. I'm not really sure that it could be the best option, because then how do you indicate that you are on one of them? But yeah, they look like tabs somehow. I don't know what's better.
Maybe we should make them with tabs design.
Yeah. But then we we go to the problem that we still have to solve about how we deal with tabs with bigger, more content that we actually have than space. Like, should we make them scrollable or tuggable or something like that?
Yeah.
But I would say for me right now, without actually having more ideas, maybe the behavior that I would expect is more like a tab.
Okay.
If you don't lose the info, well, yeah, that's a problem. For a tab, you don't really know if you are losing information when you're jumping to one place to another. If it's JavaScript, you shouldn't be losing information because you should be on the same page. But
I don't think you lose here, because I think, let's see.
Oh, that's a drop down.
It's actually a drop down, yeah.
That's not a tab.
So you can see here that I still have changes that are unsaved here.
Yeah, right.
So you can't make changes directly on this view. Like, you have to go to your dialog first. Yeah, so this is what we've been able to get done on the Views UI so far. And this is just like the first day. hopefully we can get more things done as we go. I'll give another update next week on this, what we've been able to get done.
Great.
Do we have any other topics?
Yeah, I do. Where's the share screen? So where is it? Yeah, one is the thing that you actually mentioned as a feedback for the prefix and suffix. I made a quick test. So one is a question. You mentioned how should this look like with the focus, but did you mean for the focus on the field or the focus here on the, because I don't think this makes sense, because you shouldn't be able to focus on the element itself.
Yeah, you can focus on the prefix, but you should be able to focus on the input itself.
Okay. Okay, so something like this. Okay, and then decide if it's up and down. Okay, now I get it.
Yeah.
And I guess for this you meant the same, not the errors here, but what to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the one that you have in middle could be an option, because we can probably make it look like that if we want to.
This one?
Yeah. So it's
Yeah,
up to you, like, to decide if it should be there or not.
Yeah, I think this is the one that makes sense. I just wanted to first be sure that it's what you were asking, and also if the rest of you think that's also the best. This is better than this one.
I think the middle one makes sense to me, at least. I don't know what other people think.
Would you do you still need the separation? So do you need the box around the field and around the prefix? So do you still need the left hand side of the box on the field?
When you mean box, you mean about this?
Yeah, if that would be, could it be that it's only a wrapper around the whole?
Like this, you mean?
Yeah, and then there is already a line, of course. So no, it's.
Well, why not? I guess.
No, I think it's unnecessarily fancy. Probably.
I guess yes, the other, so this is making clear that this is the place where you should go, and this is just like extra.
No, forget it. Makes sense.
Well, we had to try. Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna work on that, and I think that solves, well, apart from this, I think that solves your comments, right, Lauri? You did not have any other.
Yeah, I think that addresses my questions. Okay.
And apart from that, I just have another one. Yeah, I'm working. I haven't finished, and I was expecting to talk about that with Sasha, because he was also working with Grace and 50 Shades of Grey. Basically, what I've done here, I removed the other. So what I've done here is make a new color scale that is actually more neutral. I haven't changed anything yet, but you will I totally forgot to prepare it for a presentation. But if you see it closer, you see that it has different colors, shades of gray. And yeah, that's another one. Well, basically, not sure if it's clear enough. Those are more neutrals and those are more bluish. So the goal here was actually trying to make everything more neutral and that everything just follows the same colors. And I also introduced several shades because they are already on the design system. It doesn't, they are actually used for the prefix, because I was needing some shades here, and I ended up doing some new ones, and to try to accommodate them. And as you can see here, some of them are more green, other more red. Even not sure if you can appreciate that with Zoom sharing, but basically what I've done is trying to make the grays neutral, and it will play ideally better with the shades of blue that we have for several things like hovers, and they ideally wouldn't fight so much with closer colors. So yeah, that's just a UI that I've been working on that. I haven't actually made anything final because I wanted to discuss it. But if you have any thought before I just move forward, just let me know. And a part of that, I showed that yesterday on the UX meeting, and I haven't had time to come to that. But FUI, I'm working on the available updates page, and there's several feedback that I should work on here. And I think, yeah, the other thing that is work in progress is the page, the color page, the styles page that a colleague of mine is working, and we still have to discuss several things here.
Are we going to add the cat picture as well?
I don't know. I was telling her that we actually need an image that doesn't have any copyright if we are going to do that. So I don't know. I think it's her cat. I don't know. And that's all that I had. Not sure if anybody else has any other thing.
I don't think I have anything else.
Okay. Then I will update the prefix and suffix issue with this information. Do you think the one for the inline variations has enough information? I think I updated that.
Yeah, I think it's, let me see that again.
Because I know one of them I didn't updated it because I got your message on Slack about your feedback. So
yeah, so once we have figured out the focus and the error message, I think it's probably going to be fine.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So I updated the inline variations. Just FUI. The issue number is 3029675. It's basically to implement the inline variations, and yeah, it depends on the prefix and suffix that we were discussing. That it's actually another issue. So just for the recording. So yeah, I guess, well, if you have any questions, just let me know. Cool. So I will update the prefix, and that's all. So Anybody else has anything? I think we're done. Yeah?
Yeah.
Anybody? Okay.
Sounds like we're done.
Thanks all.
Thank you all. Talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.